Top 10 Criminals in the World. John Joseph Gotti Jr. was a 60-years-old American mobster who became the boss of the Gambino crime family in New York City. He quickly rose to prominence, becoming one of the crime family's biggest earners. He was called as Dapper Don on account of his flashy suits and flamboyant personality. He spent the majority of his sentence in effective solitary confinement, only allowed out of his cell for 1 hour a day. His final appeal was rejected by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1994. Gotti died in prison.
No problem.
Aileen Carol Wuornos was an American serial killer who killed 7 men in Florida between 1989 and 1990. She claimed that her victims had either raped or attempted to rape her while she was working as a prostitute. She claimed all of the homicides were committed in self-defense. She was executed by the state of Florida by lethal injection on October 9, 2002. As she herself later wrote, "I'm one who seriously hates human life and would kill again." She was executed by lethal injection, and her last words were, "I'll be back." Rejected by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1994. Gotti died in prison.
I left prints everywhere, and they covered it up.
Lionel Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, was a 34-year-old American serial killer and sex offender. He committed the rape and murder of 17 men and boys. He was also involved in cannibalism and the permanent preservation of body parts. Jesse Woodson James was an American outlaw, bank and train robber, and murderer from the state of Missouri. He was the most famous member of the James Younger Gang. It is believed that he also bitterly opposed to the freeing of the slaves after the American Civil War. He was shot by Bob Ford in the back of the head at the age of 34. The Zodiac Killer was a serial killer in Northern California in the late 1960s and early 1970s. His identity remains unknown. He originated the name Zodiac in an August 7, 1969 letter to the local Bay Area press. These letters included 4 cryptograms, or ciphers. Of the 4 cryptograms sent, only one has been definitively solved. He killed 5 people. Theodore John Ted Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber, was a 73-year-old American mathematician and serial murderer. Kaczynski engaged in a nationwide bombing campaign against people involved with modern technology, planting or mailing numerous homemade bombs, ultimately killing a total of 3 people and injuring 23 others. John Herbert Dilliner, as a 31-year-old American gangster and bank robber. He was charged of shooting a police office. His gang robbed 24 banks. The gang was also involved in robbing police stations. John Wayne Gacy, Jr., also known as the Killer Clown, was an American serial killer and rapist. He sexually assaulted and murdered at least 33 teenage boys and young men between 1972 and 1978 in Chicago, Illinois. He was arrested and sentenced death penalty by lethal injection. Alphonse Gabriel Al Capone. As a 48-year-old American gangster, Al Capone attained fame as the boss of the Chicago outfit. He suffered a fatal cardiac arrest. Charles Mills Manson is an 80-year-old American criminal. He who led the famous The Manson family. He was found guilty of conspiracy to commit the murders of 7 people, including actress Sharon Tate and 4 other people at Tate's home, and the next day, a married couple Lino and Rosemary LaBianca, all carried out by members of the group at his instruction.
20 years later, and they still have no idea what you're about. Tell me in a sentence who you are.
Nobody. Thank you for watching this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the Most Interesting Thing channel.